Greetings to the Lord's chosen. While others feared the unknown, you stood firm. You chose faith when the world around you was consumed by fear. Faith is the most powerful force, yet it waits silently for someone brave enough to choose it. And you are that someone. When everyone else hesitated, you moved forward with unshakable determination, diving into the challenges ahead while others remained comfortable in their doubts. This wasn't by chance, nor was it luck. This is divine alignment. Someone powerful has taken notice of your courage, not just any person, but someone with the power to reward you in ways you can't yet fathom. The struggles, the prayers, the invisible battles you fought are beginning to make sense. Hold tight, because when faith triumphs, the reward isn't just earthly, it's heavenly. What you've done has set you on a path that's not only extraordinary, but it's also designed to change the course of your life forever. You weren't just chosen, you were prepared. And now, as the doors to greater things open, you're stepping into your divine assignment. Your faith was your money, and it's now generating income. Faith is an investment, not simply a belief. It carries risk, just like any other high-stakes investment. By choosing faith over fear, you weren't only holding out hope. You were placing a wager on an unknown entity, eschewing safety, disregarding reason, and not allowing fear to control your actions. It was strategy, not naive optimism. Because it seems safer and gives them a false feeling of control, most individuals cling to fear. However, you realize something they didn't. Fear costs money. It holds individuals stagnant, snatches away chances, and paralyzes potential. That was a price you refused to pay. Rather, you made the decision to have faith, even at the expense of assurance, connections, and comfort. That choice is now paying off. Faith is a long-term commitment that requires perseverance. It doesn't provide benefits right away. When nothing appeared to change, you waited. When everything seemed to be against you, you believed. And when the ground seemed unsteady, you continued on. That resilience is not overlooked. You took action before there was proof, while others waited for evidence. Because of this, the award you are receiving is earned rather being given to you at random. And significant persons saw your process, how you refused to exchange your faith for doubt, and how you remained steadfast when fear whispered excuses to give up. That belief is uncommon, priceless, and now acknowledged. The payment is past due, not merely on the horizon. When it does come, it will surpass your expectations rather than just meet them. Faith doubles your investment rather than just returning it. You starved fear instead of just rejecting it because it was dishonest. Fear is noisy, demanding, and thrives on uncertainty and hesitancy. It just requires a footing in your mind to immobilize you. Evidence is not necessary. Because fear is persuasive and may pass for prudence or wisdom, most people give in. But you were able to see through the delusion. You starved fear rather than just rejecting it. Without nourishment, everything finally perishes. Fear can only endure if it is allowed to spread. It becomes stronger the more you give it attention. Because of this, a lot of people continue to live in what-ifs and worst-case situations. However, you ended the cycle. You gave your attention, which is fear's most powerful weapon, nothing to cling to. You nourished your faith rather than your anxieties. You're on the brink of something remarkable because of this. Because it's hard to ignore strength like yours. Someone powerful took notice. Talent is admired, but bravery is followed. They seek for those who embody bravery rather than only talking about it. Because they wish they had the same courage to starve fear rather than because they never experience it themselves. They pay attention when they see someone who refuses to let it rule them. Your decision to follow your religion not only transformed your life, but also established a benchmark. It demonstrated what may happen when fear is suppressed. That kind of thinking is uncommon, and uncommon things are valuable. Now, possibilities are emerging and recognition is approaching. But it's not because you've never experienced fear. Rather, it's because you chose to ignore it when it knocked. The refining procedure was what caused the fire, not a test. The majority of individuals see challenges as tests, something to overcome, something to endure. However, you realized on a deeper level That what you went through was a process of refinement rather than a test. The goal was to make you into someone who couldn't be broken by pressure, not to test your ability to withstand it. Gold is not just tested by fire. It is purified by burning away impurities, leaving only what is genuine and precious. That is precisely what occurred to you. The difficulties came to take away everything that wasn't a part of your future, not to test your strength. Distractions, uncertainty, fear, and insecurity had to disappear. The pieces of you that couldn't withstand what was about to happen were stripped away by the flames. You now have indisputable evidence that you are prepared, unwavering faith, and unbreakable resilience. Someone in a position of authority took notice of you because of how you handled adversity, not because you overcame it. They noticed the depth of your character, the clarity of your goal, and the assurance in your actions. Fire is the only thing that can do that. It cannot be accelerated or faked. Those who comprehend greatness are aware of what to seek. They look for those who have been honed by the trip, not for those who had an easy way. Your reward is coming because the fire changed you into a person who can manage what comes ahead, not because you just survived it. You are not the same person you were when you entered the conflict. You've gained strength, intelligence, and sharpness. You were exposed by the fire, not destroyed. And the world will soon discover just what it means. Before you realized it, you were being watched. You believed that nobody noticed the hardship, the sacrifices, the late hours, or the silent conflicts. However, someone was observing, not just anyone, but a powerful person who knows what true strength is. They sought perseverance, fortitude, and unchanging conviction rather than ostentatious, attention-seeking accomplishment. You have it too. Few people comprehend the process, but everyone appreciates the final result. The important ones are those few. Since they have experienced the fire firsthand, they are able to identify true excellence. They saw how you persevered when giving up was simple, how you maintained your faith when skepticism made sense, and how you showed up when no one was applauding. The majority of people believe that in order to be noticed, one must act. Yet you were just being. Devoted, persistent, and loyal. That's what caught their interest. Now, those who really matter are recognizing you, not from the areas you anticipated. This is a heavenly appointment rather than a fortunate break. You made the storm bend to you, not simply walk through it. Most people pray for the rain to cease and the winds to calm as they wait for storms to pass. But without hesitation, you went through it. You acted with power rather than pleading for pity. That's what makes you unique. Everyone is affected by storms, yet different people react differently. Some hide as they wait for things to get better, while others break under strain. However, you realize something they didn't. Storms pass, and they can't dominate you. You moved forward rather than retreating, depriving the storm of its strength. Resilience like that is not overlooked. Those are attracted to those who remain composed under duress. Being present is more important than just being strong. You established a new benchmark with the way you conducted yourself while everything was going wrong, and others who were observing paid attention. Someone powerful is interested in you right now because they recognize what others fail to notice. Leaders are exposed by storms. They distinguish between those who rise above pressure and those who crumble beneath it. They identified someone who doesn't wait for ideal circumstances to proceed when they saw you. Now, doors are opening because you marched right into adversity and emerged stronger, not because you avoided it. This is more than simply a prize. It's proof that you were conquering the storm rather than just surviving it. Being obedient made you unbreakable, which is uncommon. Under pressed, most individuals bend. They make concessions when things become difficult. They take shortcuts when the route becomes desolate. They give up obedience when it no longer makes sense. However, you didn't. You are unique because you stood your ground when no one else did. Being obedient is difficult. It doesn't necessarily have immediate benefits or outcomes. It may sometimes cost more than you believe you can afford. It may sometimes make you feel alone. True obedience, however, is about commitment rather than ease. You repeatedly shown that you will uphold your morals at any costs. To individuals who appreciate true honesty, as well as to God, that type of commitment is invaluable. Those in positions of authority, who have the ability to open doors and create chances, are looking for reliable people. They've been observing, and they saw something in you that they don't frequently see. Someone who perseveres in the face of lack of recognition or assurance of reward. Most people believe that skill or connections are the key to success, yet the most successful people are those who can be trusted with responsibilities. Trust is developed through hardship, not during times of ease. It develops when you continue to act morally, even when it would be more convenient to act differently. When they want to invest in someone, they seek for that sort of character. You are going to get a prize for your obedience, not just because you persevered, but also because you never faltered. You repeatedly shown your refusal to compromise, sell out, or falter under duress. And the rarest of all is that your sacrifices were investments, not a pointless one. It seemed like a loss every late night, every difficult choice, and every time you sacrificed anything for a greater goal, as if you were leaking without replenishing yourself. It would be as if you were giving everything and receiving nothing. What seemed to be a sacrifice turned out to be an investment. The harvest is now past due. In the moment, sacrifice always seems to be a loss. Thus, a lot of people steer clear of it. They refuse to let go of anything that seems safe. They cling to what they have, and they cling to comfort. And as a result, they never develop. However, you realized what most others don't. Sacrifice is a weighting multiplication rather than a subtraction. The issue is that most individuals give up before they get back. The procedure is too drawn out, too painful, and too unpredictable, so they give up. However, you didn't. You continued to plant, pour, and give despite the lack of instant benefit. That's why what's coming isn't simply a blessing. It's a payoff for all of your hard work. Not only has someone powerful been observing your faith, but also your constancy. They saw you when you were at your lowest, when you put in the effort when no one else was looking, and when you prioritized purpose above convenience. They now see something much more significant, a prepared individual. This is about proving that all of your sacrifices weren't in vain, not simply about receiving a prize. That each loss served to prepare you for something greater. Like you were depositing money into something far bigger than yourself each time you chose faith over comfort. The doors that are opening now are more than simply a present. They represent the restoration of all you believed you had lost. Because sacrifice in God's kingdom is never about losing. Rather, it's about planting something that will grow into something bigger than you could have ever dreamed. You were more than simply patient. You were an expert at waiting. One of the most difficult things to do is wait. When nothing appears to be happening, it puts your faith, fortitude, and capacity to persevere to the test. Most individuals find it difficult. They either get agitated and push things too soon, or they just sit about waiting for something to happen without taking any action to be ready for it. You conquered the waiting season, however, rather than only waiting. You realized that waiting meant doing the right things, not doing nothing at all. It was about honing your craft, gaining knowledge, and becoming ready for the time when your chance would present itself. You improved yourself while others grumbled about delays. You saw waiting as a process, whereas others regarded it as a break. Your prize is thus coming with multiplication rather than simply arriving. Favor and influence don't merely fall on the unprepared. They look for those who have shown that they are capable of carrying the burden of accountability. Influential people have been observing, and they have seen discipline rather than simply patience. It was the capacity to maintain faithfulness, consistency, and effort even in the face of stagnation. What distinguishes individuals is that level of preparedness. The waiting is gone now. The doors are opening because you are correct, not merely because the moment is appropriate. You allowed the process to mold you rather than just enduring it. Additionally, you won't be caught off guard when favor arrives. It will find you positioned, prepared, and armed to deal with whatever is about to happen. You were picked because you didn't take the easy route. Most individuals choose the simple route. It's roomy, cozy, and full of immediate satisfaction. It provides immediate benefits with minimal effort. However, taking the easy route has the drawback of resulting in mediocrity. It produces individuals who conform to social norms, follow trends, and never fully realize their potential. You didn't accept that. You made the decision to choose the more difficult, lonely, and challenging path that required more of you. You had the option of making concessions, cutting corners, or following the crowd. However, you didn't. And for that reason, you are being selected right now. Real influencers seek out those who stand out rather than those who fit in. They seek for those who had every reason to give up, yet chose not to. They seek for those who developed their moral fiber in the background and who upheld their beliefs when no one else was there. And you did just that. Your degree of favor and influence isn't arbitrary, rather, it's a reaction to the decisions you took when no one was cheering you on. It's a prize for taking a route that most people are too scared to go. As a result, you will not only be blessed, but you will also be a blessing. Others will be motivated by your story to choose legacy over convenience, purpose over fame, and faith over comfort. You are now entering what was always intended for you. Although the path you followed was challenging, it wasn't in vain. You were ready for this moment because of every sacrifice, hardship, and leap of faith. You were picked because you demonstrated that you could manage it, not because you were picked at random. Your faith was a strategy, not simply a platitude. Anyone may claim to be religious. When things are going well, discussing belief is simple. However, faith is about action more than words. It concerns how you behave, make choices, and proceed when all signs point to turning back. And that's what made you unique. You lived out your beliefs. It wasn't simply something you stated. You acted without waiting for the ideal circumstances to arise. You believed without waiting for evidence. You constructed when there was no justification for it. When there was no indication of progress, you made a move. Even though you had nothing except faith to cling on, you behaved as if the promise had already been realized. That's strategy, not naive optimism. Faith is a system, not simply a belief. It's the capacity to see beyond the present and set oneself up for future events. It involves making choices that defy common sense, but are in line with something greater than reason. That's what distinguishes those who produce amazing outcomes from regular individuals. And now, a powerful person has acknowledged that in you. They can tell that you were prepared for success rather than only hoping for it. You were preparing to go through doors rather than just hoping they would open. Most people will never encounter that kind of religion, which is uncommon, strong, and favorable. This is proof that your plan was successful, not merely a prize for believing. That it wasn't a waste of faith. That you were headed in the right direction with each step you took, even if it didn't make sense. And now you're going to see with your own eyes what you previously had to believe. Those who can withstand it are found by influence. Being influential is a duty, not a luxury. It doesn't end up in the hands of just anyone because of this. Those who have shown that they can bear it without allowing it to ruin them are found. And for that same reason, it is now coming to you. It is not by accident or coincidence that you have attracted the attention of someone powerful. It's because they see something in you that most people can't cope with. Influence is strong. It calls for courage, discernment, and the capacity to make choices that impact not just you, but also everyone around you. And you've shown that you're prepared by your perseverance, decisions, and unshakable faith. Though most people wouldn't know what to do with influence if they had it, they often believe they desire it. They lack the character to maintain the attention, chances, and rewards that they so desperately want. Influence thus stays away from those who are ill-prepared. It looks for those who can carry it with integrity. It doesn't simply land any place. You've been put to the test in ways that most people can never comprehend. You've had seasons when nobody paid attention, when nobody cheered, and when you had every reason to quit. However, you didn't. That's what sets you apart. That's what prepares you. Influence is now coming to you because you become the kind of person it seeks, not because you sought it out. A powerful person observes what you have created, persevered through, and are capable of. And now they're intervening, not to save you, but to validate what was already accurate. This is not something you have to struggle for. You are no longer required to prove yourself. You've already shown yourself, thus the doors are opening. It's time to walk in the influence that has discovered you. Before anybody verified it, you were your own prophet. At first, hardly one believed in you. What you saw was not seen by them. The fire inside you was incomprehensible to them. However, that didn't deter you. You accomplished it yourself before anybody talked over you. You silently revealed your grandeur before anybody recognized it. Before anybody verified it, you were your own prophet. Self-belief is what separates those who succeed from those who fail. Before making a step, the majority of individuals want external approval. They wait for someone to tell them they have what it takes, for approval or for applause. You didn't wait, however. When there was no proof to support it, you talked your future into being. When everything shouted failure, you took a leap of faith. When there was no evidence that it would work, you constructed. Such self-belief is uncommon and hazardous. It goes against the grain. The world is now catching up to what you were always aware of. Not because you become great overnight, but because your brilliance is now indisputable. Someone powerful has taken notice. The outcomes of your long-ago prophecy are visible to them. They see the result of your refusal to let it die. The majority of individuals believe that success occurs when they are ultimately recognized by others. In actuality, however, it occurs when you first accept who you are, when you begin living your calling without waiting for confirmation from others. That's what sets you apart from the others. The validation is on the way, not because you become deserving overnight, but because you were always deserving. The accolades, chances, and doors you formerly had to struggle to open are now swinging wide. The world is just now beginning to realize what you always knew. Although your background ought to have disqualified you, it ended up on your CV. By all reasonable measures, you have no business being here. Your background ought to have disqualified you. Most individuals would have allowed the hardships, setbacks, and losses to shatter them. However, you made them into your credentials. The world tells you that having a flawless past is what qualifies you, and that having the correct connections, background, and performance history is what opens doors. However, true strength comes from conquering what should have killed you, not from having a perfect past. And you did just that. An significant person has been observing, and they do not consider your history to be a liability. They perceive it as evidence. Evidence that you can withstand pressure, that you know how to rebuild, and that you don't give up. They are searching for someone who understands how to climb, not someone who has never failed. This moment is occurring because of your history, not in spite of it. You were benefiting from every obstacle, rejection, and incident that left you wondering whether you were destined for this. It was telling such a compelling tale that the correct person knew you were just what they needed when they saw it. You're now entering places you never would have imagined because you demonstrated you could handle the difficult route, not because you chose the easy one. Your history prepared you, not disqualified you. And now you're being picked for the same reasons that should have disqualified you. Number 14. This is a promotion for your next task, not a reward. The majority of individuals believe they have finally reached the finish line because of the recognition, the opportunity, and the breakthrough. However, you are more knowledgeable. This is a sign, a supernatural affirmation that you are entering something considerably more significant, not only a prize. Being faithful always results in advancement, not just in terms of prestige or power, but also in terms of accountability. All of your struggles, hardships, and tests weren't just meant to get you to this point. It was done to get you ready for the following step. Someone powerful took notice of you, not just because they believe you are deserving of a blessing, but also because they see your potential. They perceive a person who can be trusted with more stakes, more platforms, and more power. Don't get me wrong, this is about assignment, not comfort. Leading is more important than receiving in the next season. About entering a field where you are not only receiving favors, but also acting as their distributor. Where you're paving the way for others as well as breaking through for yourself. You had to endure so much because of this. The procedure was really tough because of this. Because effect is more important here than height alone. The doors that are now opening mark the start of something much greater rather than the conclusion of the voyage. You're also prepared. Because being ready to create your own table was more important than just securing a place at the table. It was never a matter of chance. It has to do with alignment. Right now, nothing is occurring at random. It isn't a case of good fortune, coincidence, or luck. It's alignment, the outcome of readiness for faith, opportunity for obedience, and acknowledgement for resilience. You were proved, not simply picked. You traveled an unseen road for far too long. You persevered through seasons when little appeared to change, fought battles in quiet, and remained strong when others would have given up. However, influence was waiting, and heaven was watching. And now the light is revealing what you held in the dark. In actuality, you were never overlooked, but someone powerful did take note. Every act of obedience, every moment of trust, every choice to continue when it seemed simpler to give up, it all built up. You're now entering something bigger than you could have ever dreamed of, not because you sought it, but because you became it. The finish line is not here. This serves as the starting point. The future has more depth and demands even more of you. However, you're prepared, because this adventure changed you, not just prepared you. Now, why you were selected is not the issue. What will you do with it is the true question. Don't keep it to yourself if this message resonated with you, or if it validated an inner feeling you already had. Please let me know which aspect most resonated with you by leaving a comment below and like this video. Additionally, share this with anybody you know who should hear it. This adventure is far from done, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and enable alerts. More insight, validation, and potent truths that will propel you to the next level are yet to come. You don't want to miss the next thing.